right, here we go again. Hello, I'm Anna from Certified American Grown. Thank you for joining us for Farmer Fridays, where we meet with different American flower and foliage farmers and get to know them a little bit better. This week, we're meeting with Ron and Marji Illingworth of North Pole Peonies in North Pole, Alaska. Hey, Ron and Marji, how are you?
Hello.
So I have a few questions for you. The first is, how did you start farming and what led you to flower farming?
Well, we started farming when my oldest son found this property for sale, and it was in the winter and there were like a dozen moose bedding down. So he wanted us to buy the property so that he could hunt moose. And we were actually looking for property outside of town because we didn't like the city lights. We couldn't see the stars. So we started out doing minimal vegetable farming. I was the first one to sell green beans at the farmers market up here because they're not exactly a local crop. And I would sell literally tubs and tubs of green beans, but they're really hard to pick.
Yes.
So when Holloway started asking, had visitors from, New Zealand and England who wanted peony farmers, because our peonies bloom in late June, July, and in some parts of the states into August. We put a trial out and it was successful. It was 25. And that was in 04. And by 07, we had enough, we started shipping, and by about 2013, we were up to, I don't know, about 12,000, no more than that. Yeah, 12 to 15,000 plants. So we were into it big time by then.
Yeah. Yeah.
2010, it got so
busy,
intensive that we retired from our other jobs to focus on growing the peonies and taking care of them and everything during the summer.
Yeah. And North Pole Peonies is a family farm, right? It's not,
Yes,
and not just, tell me more about that.
Well, we are actual partners with our daughter and son-in-law. They have 3 children who are now all teenagers. Another son lives in the area, and he's not the least bit interested in farming, but he's pretty darn good at keeping our equipment running.
There you go.
And he has 2 daughters, both of which help on the farm some during the summer. So yeah, it's definitely a family farm.
Yeah, so 3 generations of Illingworths working the farm.
Yeah, yes, and as it turns out, my daughter married a guy from the Netherlands, who, as you know, the Netherlands are kind of famous for flowers.
Yeah, just a little.
Who had a lot of experience. He got his degree in marketing, and so he does our marketing for us.
Great. Yeah, there's always more jobs on the farm, right?
Absolutely.
Could always use some more hands. And speaking of needing more hands, peonies have quite a short harvest season for you up in Alaska. Want to tell us a little bit more of how you deal with that challenge, what your typical day looks like?
Well,
or no day.
The typical day is a very busy day. We get our workers locally from high school, and generally they are from year to year. They keep coming back each year, even after they have graduated from high school and gone on to college. They still want to come back and work on the farm because they have such a good time doing it. So we haven't had any difficulties getting labor, except that they do grow up and they age out eventually in there. But yeah, that keeps the harvest time, which is very short, usually maybe 10 days long in there, to harvest 40 or 50,000 stems and process them and get them all into the chiller within about a maximum of an hour and a half to 2 hours time. from the time they get cut in the field.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty hectic during that period. We work 12 to 16-hour days.
In the field, right? And then there's additional time that you have to spend
Yes.
in the cooler processing.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't get dark here during harvest.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get cool if it's a warm harvest. So it could still be, picking at 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning, trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, because like I think you meant I heard you say earlier that the peonies don't stop. You can't slow them down. They think it's daytime. They're just gonna keep going.
They just keep right on trucking, and you'll go out in a field and go through, and you'll harvest what's ready, and then you come back 2-3 hours later, and the same plants have more stems that are ready to be harvested. So you just keep going.
Yeah.
And it continues into the evening. And so you have to have somebody out there. Otherwise, they blow through and open up too far
Yeah.
for us to sell them anything except maybe locally.
Yeah. Okay. And then you also, who's able to buy your flowers?
Well, thank you for that question. We do have some local on-farm sales that we do, but our major sales are ones that go either shipped out to the lower 48 or shipped internationally to a couple other countries. And that's probably about 80% of our sales. That is in the local lower 40, as we call it, lower 48 domestic areas. We also thoroughly enjoy shipping flowers to Hawaii. That's my favorite thing.
That's a compliment, right?
California too. I mean,
Yes.
it's like, they have lots of flowers, but
Yeah.
not peonies in the
No,
summer.
I think peonies are pretty special. And I have a confession. I had never I had never really, I guess, not noticed peonies. I guess they had never been available for me when I went to the grocery store until recently. And I was like, when I first took a bunch home, I was like, wow, because you buy them and they're pretty closed.
Right.
And then I brought them home and they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, when is this going to stop? It just keeps going.
They don't.
No, they don't. I don't think it did. I think it just kept going and going and going. And yeah, but that was pretty fascinating. And they lasted a long time.
Yeah, we ship to a lot of different levels of buyers. I mean, we ship to individuals, we ship to florists, we ship to smaller distributors.
Yeah.
So that we try to keep our market fairly diversified.
Yeah. Is it only those with wholesale accounts, or do you also sell directly to the public for shipping wise?
Yeah, we go directly to brides.
Okay.
Your DIYs. We go to local, well, not local, but to florists directly. Because many times the florist who is getting their flowers from a local distributor in there, the distributor doesn't want to take the chance on getting something that they're not familiar with at that time of year. And so the whole business of marketing in the peony area from up here in Alaska is letting people know that they can get a quality product and it will come through the shipping process for them.
Yeah, we ship in July and August, our primary months. We've actually gone into September a couple years, but most of the time we run out in August.
Yeah, that's nice to be able to sell all your product. Is there a lot of shrinkage in peonies in general?
No, and well, there's losses in the shipping process that happen.
Yeah. I think that's almost in every farm that ships knows that there's going to be some amount that's going to you're going to lose that way.
One of the things that we do is we aggressively follow up on everything that's shipped out. And so if there's a delay in the shipping, we probably know about it before the recipient knows that things have been delayed. And we contact them, and we have shipped replacement peonies several times, and we ship them at no charge to the buyer. they don't have to pay again for those. And then we just go back to FedEx
The
or
carriers,
whoever
yeah.
it is that we're shipping with to try and get some reimbursement.
Mhm.
But that our policy has been that we want the buyer to get a product that is going to uh, be good for
Yeah,
them as best, the
absolutely.
highest quality we can get it.
Yeah, and we chatted a little bit earlier about this, but I know you last year there were some farms that were pretty heavily affected by the weather. Tell me a little bit about peonies from Alaska and how even though it's all one state, there's such diversity in the different regions and timing.
Sure. There's a couple of variants in there. One is a part of the state is a maritime climate,
Yeah.
and they are affected with generally more moderate weather all winter long, and their peonies come out of the ground a little bit before ours do. Then the middle of the state around Anchorage, that's really not middle, but in that area,
Yeah.
they are also maritime-ish, but not as much as down towards Homer. And then where we are in the interior is more like living in Iowa.
Mhm.
It is a middle continent type situation with much colder temperatures and a much longer winter. But I'll let my wife tell you about the short season we've got
Yeah.
for harvesting. For getting them.
Well, usually our snow leaves sometime in late April, early May, and the soil starts to dry out. Usually we get emergence of the stems, the first emergence, late May, but usually early June. And by the 20th, 21st of June, we can be in harvest.
Wow. That's a pretty
Um,
quick, pretty quick.
when our grandkids were little, they were saying, Grandma, we can watch the peonies grow. And I said, oh, well, here's some, I gave them little 12-inch rulers,
Mhm.
and they went out and planted them next to some of the peonies, and 4.5 inches in a day.
Yeah, that's pretty spectacular. You also are starting to have a little bit of events on your farm, right? It's not your farm's focus, but you are having some events, right?
Well, one of the things we do is every Tuesday night we have a farm walk. And
Oh,
people can come out for free. It's at 7 o'clock, and they can walk around the farm. If it's peonies are in bloom, we usually let them do some U-picks.
mm-hmm.
But last summer we had a really fun event. We had a bride who had known us, and she called and she said, I want to pick my own peonies. And I said, well, they'll last longer if we pick them and chill them. She said, oh no, we just want them for the next day and we want to pick them.
Yeah.
I said, well, sure, come on out. When do you want to come out? She said, well, would like to bring my wedding party out the morning before the wedding and pick flowers. I said, sure, come on out. Well, she came out with 4 cars
Yep.
and about 15 people. And I handed them clippers and baskets and basically turned them loose. I said, anything that's open, starting to open, you can pick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they went around, and they were supposed to be there about 45 minutes. And 2.5 hours later, the bride's
picked it
mother is
clean. No, just
calling
kidding.
frantically, you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So they all loaded their buckets of peonies, we did a quick count, stem count, and they loaded their bucket of peonies and took off for Harding Lake for the wedding.
Yeah.
And she sent pictures and all sorts. We got thank you notes from at least 10 of the different participants.
Yeah,
So-
that sounds like it was a highlight of being a flower farmer, but was it your favorite thing about being a flower farmer? Having people on the
gee.
farm, or
Well, I think our favorite thing about being a flower farmer is when we hear back from people and they express whatever the event might have been or the situation
Mhm.
might have been, but they express their appreciation, their enjoyment for it. We get things from from people periodically, and that's what makes it the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys have been proud supporters of American Grown, and I'd like you guys to tell everybody why it's important for your farm to be part of Certified American Grown.
Well, I think the thing with Certified American Grown is that it's making sure that people know that the flowers they're getting are coming from the United States.
Yeah.
That it's a product that is ours, and they don't have to worry so much about labor issues or
Yeah.
other things, that might be
It's
a
supporting
factor.
it's supporting the local community.
It's supporting the local community, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I also am concerned about, well, pretty much indentured farm workers in other parts of the world where they don't make enough money that they even survive on. So I think it's important that we
Communicate. Yeah.
inform the community that we're here, and we're local, and we use we support our local kids in the labor market, getting them started, and it's just important.
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, that's all the time we have today. So thank you, Ron and Margie. Have a wonderful day. Keep resting, and summer will be here before you know it.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, we look out at the 4.5 feet and it's still falling, but it'll go away.
It will. It will. All right. You guys have a good day. Bye.
All right.